The Null's presence was a wound in reality itself. She moved through the compound with casual indifference, her footsteps silent on broken concrete. Around her, an invisible sphere of negation spread outward like ripples on dark water. Every resonant ability within 50 meters simply ceased to exist, not suppressed or dampened, but erased as if they had never been. Sable's hard light constructs didn't fade. They shattered, golden fragments scattering like dying stars before dissolving into nothing. The weaver-shaped defensive spikes crumbled to ordinary stone. Even the emergency lighting flickered and died where alien circuitry had been enhanced with resonance-infused components. But Kael's stolen abilities burned steady in his mind. Now, whispered the frequency, its mental voice electric with hunger. Take her power. Make it ours. Stand down, Null operative. Okafor's voice carried across the courtyard, but his usual authority sounded hollow without the subtle resonance enhancement that gave his commands weight. You're surrounded. The woman laughed, a sound like breaking crystal. Surrounded by what, Commander? Ordinary humans with conventional weapons. She was right. Without their abilities, the Resonants crouched behind the ramparts were just people with military training. Dangerous, but not against someone who could walk through their defenses like they were made of paper. Your raid failed, Okafor tried again. Whatever you came for. We came for him. Her finger pointed directly at Kael. The boy who drains power from others. The walking violation of natural law. Ice flooded his veins. They knew. Somehow, the Hollow Collective had identified him as a fragment bearer and mounted this entire assault just to. Unfortunately, the Null continued, you've made him rather difficult to extract. So we'll settle for ensuring he can't be weaponized against us. She reached into her jacket, producing something that made Kael's stolen abilities scream in recognition. A crystalline fragment, twin to the one that had burned itself into his palm weeks ago. But where his had been clear as mountain water, this one pulsed with void dark energy that hurt to look at directly. A negation fragment. The opposite of everything he'd become. The Null raised the crystal toward her forehead, and Kael understood with sickening clarity what would happen next. The fragment would bond with her, amplifying her already devastating abilities until she could suppress resonance across entire cities. The Hollow Collective would have a weapon that could cripple the core wherever they deployed it. Unless someone stopped her. Kael stepped forward. Every eye on the ramparts turned toward him, Sable's wide with shock, Okafor's calculating, the other defenders filled with confusion. In the Null suppression field, he should have been as powerless as everyone else. The fact that he could still move with purpose, still radiate the subtle confidence of someone with abilities intact, painted him as something fundamentally other. That's far enough, boy. The Null's voice carried no concern, only mild curiosity. I'm impressed you can still function in my presence. Most resonants collapse immediately. I'm not most resonants. Yes, the frequency purred. Show her what we are. Kael's stolen signal pulse swept outward, painting the courtyard in frequencies of terror and anticipation. The Null appeared as a void in his enhanced perception, not darkness, but absence. A place where the fundamental forces that governed reality simply stopped working. But voids could be filled. He launched himself forward, drawing on every scrap of enhanced speed and coordination the fragment provided. The Null moved to meet him, her movements economical and deadly. She fought like someone accustomed to opponents who lost their powers the moment she got close, efficient strikes designed to end conflicts quickly. Kael's stolen abilities gave him advantages she couldn't account for. His signal pulse revealed her attack patterns before she committed to them. Marcus Webb's fragmentary weaver power let him harden his skin just enough to turn killing blows into bruises. The scout's techniques provided footwork that kept him mobile despite her reach advantage. But the Null was faster than anyone he'd faced, and her suppression field made his abilities flicker even if it couldn't extinguish them entirely. A backhand sent him sprawling across broken concrete. A knee strike folded him over, driving air from his lungs in an agonized rush. Impressive, she admitted, standing over his prone form. But ultimately futile. The crystal touched her forehead. Dark energy began to flow between flesh and alien artifact, the bonding process that would transform her from dangerous to unstoppable. Kael had seconds before she became something that could level cities with her presence alone. He reached up and grabbed her ankle. The drain hit like lightning reversed. Instead of flowing outward, power rushed into him from her. Not resonance manipulation or energy projection, but something far more fundamental. The ability to say no to physics itself. To deny reality and make the denial stick. Signal dampen acquired, the frequency announced with savage satisfaction. The Null staggered backward, her suppression field flickering as a fraction of her power transferred to Kael. Around the courtyard, resonant abilities sparked back to life as her absolute negation became merely overwhelming. Impossible, she whispered, staring at her hands as if they belonged to someone else. Then Sable's hardlight spear took her through the chest. The remaining hollow forces scattered like windblown leaves, their weapon neutralized and their mission transformed from extraction to desperate escape. Within minutes, the compound was secure again, but the victory felt hollow. Kael collapsed to his knees, the stolen nullification power settling into his mind like a sword made of ice. Around him, the defenders stared with expressions ranging from awe to terror. He'd done the impossible, not just resisted a Null suppression, but drained power from her while everyone watched. The last secret was gone. Everyone knew what he was now. Consciousness faded as exhaustion claimed him, but not before he caught sight of familiar faces gathering around his prone form. Sable knelt beside him, her expression unreadable. Behind her, Commander Okafor stood with his arms crossed, studying Kael like a puzzle he was finally beginning to understand. When Kael's eyes fluttered open hours later, the first thing he saw was Sable's face inches from his own. Concern creased her features, but underneath the worry lay something that made his blood run cold. Behind her, Okafor's expression wasn't surprise at what Kael had accomplished. It was recognition. And beneath that, the kind of fear reserved for weapons too dangerous to exist.